Hi everybody. I've been doing these videos now for a little bit, and every one I do is just really pretty much off the cuff. Even a lot of my more comical videos, I just kind of get a scenario in my head and grab a wig and some makeup and go for it. And most of those are for to advertise the Compassion Club that I'd like to get going here soon. But most of the videos that I've been posting recently have a lot to do with what's going on right now in our world, the world that we're part of, the world that we make up to be the world. And basically the ascension and the radical awakening of this planet right now. In a few of my past videos, I've said, back, 15, 20 years ago, I was studying some of the things that are actually happening now and comparing them to some prophecies and whatnot by Edgar Casey and Nostradamus and some of the Anunnaki scripts, things like that, and the Mayans, and it's been described by several of them and by notable scientists, metaphysicists, I believe. I don't know if that's actually, but a lot of these well-educated, up-to-date theories back then have now been proven actually factual. And it kind of makes me joke. I want to say, alternative facts, like we heard out of that Kelly Conway or whatever. To me, an alternative fact is a lie, unless we're talking about a parallel universe. And that's a lot about our perspective, We're pretty well set up to determine things, if they're enlightening or not, to us. A lot of us are clueless, or we've placed a lot of faith in particular people that we believe are smarter than we are, or believe that they have a better answer. They've maybe shown some something in their life that you've been impressed by, and maybe they just were one of the few people that treated you nicely. I mean, I don't know why this keeps coming to mind, but I keep thinking about like a doctor-patient relationship. I've been really lucky, and I have an awesome doctor. She respects how I feel. She listens to what my opinion is. She does not push a lot of medicine on me. She does not pursue into a bunch of stuff that I really am not super concerned with. I'm super blessed to have this lady. She's been really behind me with my use of medical marijuana. I mean, she's not like broadcasting that she approves of it or anything, because she'd have people just trampling her door down, I'm sure. But she's extremely receptive And it took a lot of doctors to get to that point. But like I said before, I've always been kind of someone, I don't like being told what to do. My doctor doesn't tell me what to do. She doesn't threaten me. She tells me facts. She says, well, this helps with this in this many people. I mean, it's up to you if you want to pursue that or you don't. And she's been super respectful of me in that way, and my wishes as far as what I want to do with my own health. Prior to this woman, they messed me up, doctors. I spent so much time back and forth to doctors, having surgeries, getting second opinions, going to one doctor when the other one couldn't figure out what was wrong, getting put on medication making me sick. I mean, and it just like perpetuated to where almost every single word out of my mouth somehow contains something about my health. I was totally, even if I didn't want to be alive, I mean, and there were times I really felt so sick, and I'm not, you know, it's really hard not to say, wow, I don't feel good, I'm sick, I don't feel good, I feel so sick, I feel nauseous. It's hard not to voice that because your body's screaming it at you. And our bodies are our vehicle. I mean, we got to go around and we got to definitely try to keep them in tip-top shape, at least to the best of our ability. Now, some people would think that that's going for regular checkups and getting all their stuff, and some people that have already been pulled into the factual, or not even factual, but I mean turned, how can I say it? Those of us that are already stuck in the medical system, it's pretty hard to step away from that. If you've been laying on a table and they told you they didn't know if you were going to go home tomorrow or in, you know, or to ICU or in a box or whatever it may be, if they scared you with if you didn't get this test and this shit grown, you might just be dead, you know. I mean, it's all about not dying, right? Is that what it is? I mean, and not being in pain. I mean, we're all going to die. They're not going to be able to save, you know, at least that's what we always say, isn't it? We're all going to die. I'm not convinced of that yet. Okay? I'm not. And even if I do, I'm not. Okay? That's my... I really believe that that is what got me away and made, you know, got me away from that. I go see my doctor now about once every 3 months. That's amazing. I'm not kidding. It was like every week, every 2 weeks. Emergency room, trips in the hospital. One year, I was in the hospital like 8 times in 1 year. One time I was in the hospital for like 4 months. I never knew. I was really, really close to death then. I was in a medically induced coma for a while, and it was a touch and go thing. I used to take 160 units of insulin a day. Plus I had regular insulin that I had to do for backup. I was on oxygen 24 hours a day. I couldn't make it from my chair in the living room about a 40-foot walk to the bathroom without my oxygen dropping down in the 80s. You know, I weighed about 450 pounds. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people that weigh I'm not trying to, it ain't easy. I didn't do it like, oh, I'm all willpower and do it, man. They took my guts out. They took my stomach out. It's not like I'm so proud of you. You know, I want to show people the pictures of me when I was heavy and when I was sick. Not to have somebody say, oh, atta girl, that's so great. Because I don't feel like it's not about what I look like. And it's not about my willpower, I don't think. Maybe the willpower to live. But it was... the compliment is being able to be here. There's no, I'm not looking for any kind of pat on the back for that. I went through hell for it. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? A lot of people are going to go through hell for it, and they won't ever get to this point where I am, and I just want them to be able to. When I talked about being a light worker and I talked about being an empath, that's one thing I really wanted to point out. Very often, people that are light workers or empaths are extremely erratic health. Sometimes they have very erratic weight. They'll be real thin, real big, back and forth. And they have a really hard time maintaining their physical body. Ego, which is basically whatever the part of us that makes us think that we must compete, must strive for approval, and in some cases even a strive for control. Ego does strive for control, but what we're trying to do is control ourselves to make ourselves appear as good as everyone else, okay? Well, our physical bodies, and a lot of people that are light workers, have a lot of physical problems. Some of it is because we feel the sins and emotions and the sicknesses of a lot of the people that we come in contact with. It's just normal for us to meld in energies with other people. An empath is highly, they don't have an abrasive energy, okay? They have a real open energy for the most part. They're pretty accepting of most people, unless they're afraid of them. But for the most part, they're pretty accepting of about any type of person. Part of that is because I had spoke before that a lot of empaths have taken a very hard and challenging path, and sometimes that involves abuse, and a lot of ridicule in their life, a lot of hardship in their life. A lot of them do pick abuse for the simple reason is that they can transmute abuse. Okay? They are the end of the chain. Now, we all know how abuse can perpetuate abuse and just continue on throughout generations. Well, the empaths that are on Earth right now, the light workers, the ones that have been abused, if you're a light worker in this particular realm and this generation, not even, if you've been abused, I know that you know that you're done with it. You're not abusing other people. Not in that way. Not in a sexual way. You know, if that is something that you're doing and you're sitting here and you're saying that you're a light worker and listening to me, then you're very fooled. And that's not a judgment call. That's something you're going to have to take a look at. Because you cannot be both. So, if you are going to sit here and believe that you're a light worker and you continue to abuse children or in any way, sexually, or animals, or things like that, either you make some kind of an about face, like as quickly as you can, or you're going to be a victim of your own demise in no time. Because true light workers will not tolerate that. So if you are a light worker and you've suffered abuse and you are not perpetuating it, as I am quite positive if you're a light worker, you are not. And I'm not talking about inadvertently, I'm talking about, you know, we know when we're doing wrong things, you know. I'm not saying that we don't have, there aren't pressures from the darkness and things in our world that makes us do things that is against what we really truly believe. But we're going to suffer some sort of dis-ease in our system for that. Okay. Now, as an empath, you're going to absorb some of these things from people that you come in contact with. Normally, like I said, because you're an open person, because you're someone that whose vibration is very welcoming. A lot of empaths, like I said before, I said they're doormats, and I didn't go into that very much, but you have an innate desire to help people, okay? You have not almost a drive almost to help people, to care about people. An ideal world would be a world of acceptance, where everyone looks at you and says, you're great just the way you are, and you can look at everyone else and say they're great just the way they are. That would be a perfect world for you. People not bothering each other, everybody having enough, no one being mean to each other. And that's really all the biggest thing you want. I mean, when I say it like that, I'm like, what more could anyone want? But, you know, a lot of people want a lot more. And a lot of that's our ego. A lot of our ego says, you need to have this, or you're not as good as this person, or you need to learn this, or you're not as smart as that person, or, you know, you will never be as beautiful as this person here. And it sets up doubts within ourselves. And see, that's, everything is like, has been a separation. You know, I've said it so many times, but it's so true. It's like, instead of looking at Earth and humankind as a common thing to you, and what we both breathe Earth, we both have bodies, we both have families. We are enlightened beings. We have consciousness. We've lost people. We've seen new people born. We're so many things that we are so in common with our fellow man. I mean, and we have done nothing but look at every single thing that separates us from them, and ignorantly putting it together and creating ourselves on this expectation of the world. And we see ourselves like never measuring up to that. We will never measure up to that. Because the ego is in charge of the ego. The ego needs to be in charge of everything, because that's what affects you. Our mind is much stronger than our bodies. But our ego, that spoiled brat part of our mind, the tricked part of our minds, can destroy our bodies. In fact, I believe that's what does destroy our bodies. It destroys so many things. It's always on the verge of disaster. It's always has a drive of competition. There's always a drive for acceptance. There's always a drive to have more and more and more. Ego can hang on to a lot of bad vibes. In fact, that's where you pretty much hold all that stuff. Your spiritual self knows better. Okay? It knows you better than that. It knows you're not that. But your ego constantly sets you up for self-doubt and self-separation from others. I think the ego is primarily run on a negative frequency, on a very low frequency. There's really no room for anything but blindly being led by someone that you think knows more than you, or arrogantly leading yourself into something that you think you're better than someone else. And that's what when I was talking about our bodies and health. Now I get kind of, wound up about, like, I don't know if this is a pop bottle top in my chest or a pacemaker. I trust that it's a pacemaker and it's working, I guess. And that's the way I feel, I guess. Because today, if the same scenario happened, I wouldn't have had a pacemaker put in. In fact, if they can ever come up with a way to pull this sucker out of here, they can do it. But at the same time, if it just sits in there, it sits in there. I'm not going to worry about my pacemaker. I'm not going to worry about my batteries wearing out. I'm not going to worry about having a heart attack. I'm going to try to control my mind, to control my ego. Oh, that's ego too. You better believe it, You got a good doctor, he saved your life 100 times, You got to listen to everything they say. Plus, if you don't want to do what they say, then they won't think that you're even trying to help yourself. Plus, if you're not sick all the time, holy shit, then you're going to have to figure out how to enjoy your life. we all got a purpose, a drive, you know, and we get convinced that that drive is the fight to stay alive. And that's all we can do because we're in these physical bodies. We just think we're a physical body, a human being living on a great big rock called Earth. And we're part of the rock. We're part of the sky. We're part of the electricity. We're all of that, you know. I mean, when you really think about it, you meet a doctor, he says, hey, I think you need this surgery. I think if you don't get this surgery, you'll be paralyzed in 5 years. Okay. What do we do? Do you go get the surgery? I can't tell you. But you know, I know that now that I've been through a lot of the things I've been through, and I've been experimented on and practiced on by many, many doctors that, oh, I'm sure that they felt that they were trying to do something to help me, and I know that some of them went to extreme measures and probably saved my life. They expected me to die. I didn't expect to die. I'm not dead. That's what I know. Don't expect to die. Don't expect it to be cancer. Don't expect it to require a major surgery. That's what we do. And don't take everybody's word for it. Before you use a drastic, in fact, I don't even want to say this because this is not medical advice. Okay? So I'm not even going to talk about it in a medical way. This is not medical advice. It doesn't matter who is talking to you. If it's your doctor, if it's a person of presumed authority, of presumed superior intelligence, whatever it may be, no one's smarter, no one knows more, and no one has the ability to heal you except you. That's the honest truth. You are who knows what's best for you. You may choose that a particular medicine is the medicine, and you truly believe that that is going to heal you, and you truly believe that you're healed from that. You will be healed from that. You will. You know, I got really upset one time because I was told by someone at church. Yeah, I used to go to church. But I was told by someone at this they were charismatic evangelists. It was pretty, holy roller, you know. I had been giving my tithes, doing everything. I was really involved in the church. The kids were going all the time and everything. I mean, it was... And I was running out of fuel oil in the middle of the night. I called them up and I asked them the next day if I could borrow some money from the church, and I would include it in my tithe. And so the pastor said, well, the assistant pastor said, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to God about it, and I'll call you back. So he pretty much came to called me back and said, Well, I talked to God about it. And God said that if you had enough faith, He's pretty sure that your gas will last until you get your next check. I was like, okay, well, thanks, Pastor. You know, yeah, well, can I pray with you? And I'm like, I wasn't happy. I was like, my gas ain't gonna last. I'm at like 1%, man. It ain't gonna last. What the hell? Blah, blah, blah. I said that to 5 or 6 people. I went out there and looked the next day. It was still at 1%. Like, this shit ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna last. It's gonna go out. It's gonna wear out. I went out there later in that next day. It was still at 1%. I came in the house and I said, you know what, you guys? We're gonna have a slumber party. Kids said, okay. We pulled everything out, got it in the living room. I hung up some blankets in the hallway. And I turned off my furnace. And I made it work. Turned on my burners a little bit, got it warm in there. Had a hairdryer, I think, going. Oh, we made it. My point being is I changed the situation. Yeah, maybe the gas didn't work, but if I would have continued to just sit there and fucking bitch because the church wouldn't help me with this gas, instead of going around and shutting my stuff off and conserving my gas and believing that me, not God, I'm sorry, but you know, God through me, whatever. I mean, I'm connected to God, I really am. But me took an action with an intention. I didn't wait for them to tell me they were going to help me. You know, we get a lot of bad news sometimes from our doctors. Well, if you don't do this, you're going to die. If you don't do that, you're going to suffer. If you don't take this test, you might get breast cancer down the road. I know people that like these damn things, which I'm going to do right now. Every single time they light them, they say, these are going to kill me. I know another person says, every time they cough, they say, I probably got lung cancer.